Todd will be back with us on Monday. But our interview right now, presented by Marcus and Mack, voted best law firm, best personal injury lawyer 4 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online, marcusandmack.com. Let me see if I can do this from left to right as you're watching on Facebook Live. We have Josh Krug from the Indiana County Office of Planning and Development. Joining him is Joe Kinter. And we also have from Indiana Borough's Zoning Department, Mr. Trajan Jones, and we also have Eden Zanisek of Indiana Borough with us today as well. Folks, how y'all doing?
Great.
Yes, sir.
All right, excellent. So, Josh, the reason why we have all these wonderful representatives of Indiana Borough here today is because one of the upcoming walks of the Decathalon is going to focus on the borough. Is that right?
Yes, thank you, Josh, and thanks for having us on. So, our next event in our 2026 series, 10th Annual Decathalon, is in fact this Saturday, March 28th at 10 a.m., and it's the Jane's Walk. So this is a walk to celebrate citizen planner Jane Jacobs, and this is our version of the Jane's Walk. We'll explore the 8th Street Corridor project in Indiana Borough. We'll discuss, how the project's focused on improving safety, connectivity, et cetera, in the borough, and we'll examine corridor improvements. We'll also be, walking through, kind of the neighborhoods surrounding the 8th Street corridor. So we'll be meeting at pretty much like the 8th and Church Street lot, the borough lot, near the trailhead. And we'll be meeting at 10 a.m. on Saturday, and we're really excited for this event because we're partnering with these great folks.
So March 28th, tomorrow, is Jane's Walk in downtown Indiana, in the downtown region. Joe, let's have you step up here a little bit. Talk about the importance of this, of being able to kind of walk this area. I mean, there's a lot of stories that can be heard if one walks on 8th Street or any of the streets in Indiana Borough.
Yeah, for sure. And I think this is a nice continuation of the planning that we had done last fall for the 8th Street corridor. And so this is another opportunity to get people in the community in the space to hear what they think about it and to incorporate that feedback into the design that we do.
Trajan, this has been one of your pet projects as part of the zoning. It's part of the the 8th Street initiative, trying to build that connection between campus and downtown.
Right.
Talk about where are we in the process for that?
So we're kind of somewhere in the middle, I think would be the best way to describe it. Like Joe had referenced, we've been doing behind the scenes planning for the last year. So to get us to a point where we were ready for the charrette, which we had in September, and get a final design. Now, since then, we haven't necessarily released that to the public. We've shared it with some internal groups. Mm-hmm. But looking forward to the next stages or the next steps, we're looking at different funding opportunities. We're working with the county right now to look at a grant from PennDOT. So that's one of the things. And then also looking to re-engage residents about the project. So, sometimes it's tough to think of new creative ways to get this in front of people and allow them to weigh in. But working in partnership with the county in terms of contributing it to their decathlon program, like I said, it makes it an opportunity to be engaged, but it's also a way that it's more fun than just sitting there and listening to us lecture about it.
Mm-hmm, definitely. That was proven with the charrette, the kind of model version of what the corridor might look like back in September, whenever that was held. Eden, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about what kind of spurred this initiative on to get this to get this connection in place.
Yeah, I mean, I think as everyone has said so far, it's a lot that's a corridor that's kind of underutilized, but it's very key to combining two areas of our community. And like we saw in the fall, I think could be a place where a lot of our students are hanging out and kind of a gateway to what has to offer in the downtown area. And some of the ideas coming out of the fall, I mean, I don't think that we could have come up with them. And you want to hear that kind of perspective coming from a large part of our community. So we're excited to bring everyone back tomorrow and talk about some of the ideas that were received in the fall and that were compiled by the consultant team at Michael Baker and share that with the community.
Josh, talk about this. I mean, there have been other Jane's Walks, I'm assuming, in the past as part of the Decathalon.
So this is the first time that we've done a quote-unquote Jane's Walk as part of the Decathalon. We're actually really excited about the aspect
Okay.
that we're connecting planning in such a meaningful way to this program that we've operated out of the planning office for 10 years. So we continue to implement our active transportation plan through the Decathalon, as well as other, programming and promotion that we do. But the James Walk in particular, it's an active way to share stories about community, connect with neighbors, discover unseen aspects of a place. And Jane's Walk's actually an organization that was founded by her friends, Jane Jacobs in her memory. And Jane Jacobs, was a writer, urbanist, and activist, did a lot of work in the city of New York, activating and encouraging the folks to get involved directly in the things that are impacting their community. And so this type of event encourages a community to start the conversation on how our town or a town, has grown, impacted us as individuals, et cetera. So we're going to have the opportunity in the first part of our event tomorrow to walk. We do have a route here. I don't have a bigger map, but we will have these available at the event tomorrow. And we'll essentially start at that parking lot, head north to 7th or to Philadelphia Street. We'll head east to 7th Street, go south all the way to Washington, and then we'll go west, and then we'll actually end up on West Avenue by the hub and connect back up through the 8th Street corridor. And we'll get to talk about, what are your things you like and dislike about the overall neighborhood? What are memories and stories of the area? So it's not all 8th Street alone, this walk. It's actually going to lend itself in a way for people to experience some creative inspiration and to talk about their community, and then ultimately tie it all together at the end of our walk, where we look at some panel boards of the preliminary design for what may come of the corridor, and talk more directly about 8th Street and what's to come.
I'll throw this out to the whole group here. One of the things that Josh mentioned was the fact that people get the chance to kind of share memories of the area, share stories, talk about likes and dislikes. What else are you expecting to hear? I mean, like, as I said, stories are all around us here in Indiana Borough whenever it comes to these streets. But what are you expecting to hear from some of the citizens as they take part in this event?
I think one of the things when you're thinking about engagement is the way we've been describing this. So out of the charrette, that was essentially the full menu. So that was everything that could potentially be included in this corridor. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to do all of those things.
Right.
So having this continued engagement with the residents, specifically in an event like this, when we're in that space and people can see it and visualize it in real time, allows us to prioritize or get a sense for, what we should be doing first in terms of what residents want out of this versus, what we can maybe put off or, phase out over time.
Eden, after this, what's next for the 8th Street corridor?
Yeah, so after this round of engagement, we'll be continuing some engagement with our stakeholders and have kind of some open periods for residents to continue to provide feedback. But as has been alluded to, we are looking for funding to move this project forward. So we will be continuing to share information about where the project is, what funding we're seeking. But we need to come up with a design. That's how we move it forward. We have some preliminary designs, as Josh and Trajan have pointed out, but we need to kind of narrow that down. And come up with the best design for our community.
As you guys said, what we saw in September, it's kind of like if we had everything on the wish list. So that's amazing right there. Joe, maybe you can tell us what you would like to see in this whole area.
Yeah, I think going back to what Josh maybe alluded to first, I think it's increasing the safety of that corridor. It's increasing the walkability, the kind of the streetscape element of it, so that it is more inviting for pedestrian traffic to move between these two very important community spaces. So from my perspective, it is on one hand making it a safer, nicer place to be, and on the other hand, really creating a place that encourages connections between these two places and the people that inhabit the two activity centers.
All right, let's get the nitty gritty because we are getting close to the mark. So when will this start?
So we'll be there around 9:30 tomorrow morning. Our event will kick off at 10 a.m. We'll tee it up, discussing the overall Decathalon program, some of the upcoming events that we do have. We are partnering with America 250 on an event Saturday, April 11th. We're partnering with IUP. We're doing a walk on IUP campus on Saturday, April 25th. We'll be at Healthy Kids Day on April 18th. So there are a lot of other good events coming up, but tomorrow we will meet at 8th and Church Streets in downtown Indiana. And while we have time, I do want to get this plug out there because I'm not sure the next time we'll be on there. I want to give a save the date for the Decathalon program. You know, we're very excited about this being our 10 years and commemorating that. And at 11 a.m. on June 13th at the Eagles Rest at the White Township Rec Complex, we will be having a picnic, a celebratory picnic. There will be the opportunity to RSVP for that event, but I want to get that out there. Please come tomorrow. We can get you flyer. We can get you. Save the dates. You can get the flyer for the James Walk event in particular.
Sure.
And I will announce we still have T-shirts, and we will be giving them out at the event tomorrow. First come, first serve.
Now these are kind of the teal green T-shirt with the 10-year logo on them.
Yeah,
for the
and a
Decathlon.
lot of wonderful sponsors. You know, with a lot of our partners that helped to underwrite this for the program. So thank you.
And if anybody wants more information about the Decathlon or Jane's Walk tomorrow, where can they go?
You can find that on our website, www.icopd.org. There's also a Facebook group, Indiana County Walking Decathlon, and Indiana Borough has been, sharing information on their social media about this walk in particular, and some of the other stuff that'll be happening in the borough. And I imagine you may be able to get to it through downtown Indiana as well.
Excellent. Well, folks, thank you all very much for being a part of Indiana in the Morning this morning, telling us all about Jane's Walk. That is tomorrow. I hope you get a lot of people, and I hope the weather stays a little bit nice on that. Looks like sunny skies. So we'll take that.
We're
You might
prepared
need a winter coat, but
We're prepared for anything. We do these events February through May, so we understand that the weather could be a challenge.
excellent. But again, thanks a lot for being a part of the show today.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks, Josh.
That was Josh Krug, Joe Kinter, Trajan Jones, and Eden Zenisek joining us on Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank. Interview presented by Marcus and Mack, voted best law firm, best personal injury lawyer 4 years in a row, best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online, marcusandmack.com. Thanks to Matt Lewis for helping out with the newsroom, and I hope to see all of you tonight at the Eagles Lodge for Teddy Bear Fun Drive Trivia Night. Doors open at 6. We start the game at 7, $20 a player. But if I don't see you tonight, I'm Josh Widdowson. As always, thanks for listening.
Mom was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at 58 years old.
8 years into the disease was when all the light went out.
For me, it was heart-wrenching.
Looking into the eyes of somebody with Alzheimer's, sometimes you just don't see the person's soul is like gone.
And it takes a toll on everyone. I mean, it's a depressing disease to watch unfold before your eyes.
She actually thought those of us who were caring for her and who loved her most were her worst